And today I was planning on doing a presentation on how to build your community, how to create your course, and how to make sales. But then I figured that's going to be quite a lot. We have quite a lot to talk about in either case here. So I figured let's break it up into 3 episodes instead. So, hi Helmut. Today we're going to focus on how to build a community of qualified leads, and we're gonna really dive deep and designate a whole episode for this specific problem of how to generate leads. Hi Lorna, nice seeing you. So awesome, I love the engagement, love that you're commenting. So this is something I also want to say. If you're watching this outside of the Facebook group, if you're watching the replay on YouTube or listening to this podcast, go ahead and join the Online Course Secrets group, because that way you can interact with me directly. You can watch this live, you can ask me questions, and I was thinking we could do a couple of exercises today as well, or at least one, to help you learn this stuff and to implement it more, so it really gets ingrained, right? So let's dive deep. Oh, by the way, before we get started as well, if you are watching this in the Facebook group and you'd like this guide that I'm walking you through, just comment guide in the comments and either me or a team member will make sure to reach out. So with that said, let's get started. So today we're gonna focus on how to build a community of qualified leads, and we're gonna do a 3-part video series here, right? So to start this off, let's talk about the big mistake and the big solution. Okay, so I call it the big mistake because it's the major thing that people get wrong when they are just starting out and they want to create their course. And the issue there is that they start off in the wrong end. They think, it's a quite natural thing to believe that, oh, I want to create an online course. Well, then I should start by creating an online course and then I can try selling it, right? However, this is a huge mistake, and I can share with you why I think so. It's because, well, I went through this myself. I worked for months and months and months on my first course, learning all the tech. The first time it's quite complicated to understand all these things, how to put everything together, how to record your slides, how to organize it, how to structure it, etc., etc. So you're so focused on that you're missing the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that this course that you're working on is supposed to be selling at the end, right? You're not just supposed to be creating a course and then struggling with selling it afterward, right? And I think the mistake that I made, and you let me know in the comments if you've experienced this as well, is that we enter with this idea that we're going to create this amazing course. We have this idea of an expertise, what we're going to be creating. And then we're just going to learn the skill set of selling it afterward, because the course is obviously going to be perfect. So what's the problem with creating it first and then trying to sell it, right? So if you've gone through this experience of creating your course and then figuring out that 3 things are missing, right? First of all, you don't have an audience to sell it to. Sure, you have your friends on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they've been cheering you on, but when it comes time to paying, they're just not that interested. They're supporting you, but just not financially, right? And it will then hit you that, okay, I had this audience, and maybe you made a sale or 2 or something like that, but your audience isn't growing, right? So how are you going to reach out to more people? And whenever you do talk with someone, they're going to be wondering, like, but who are you? Like, I don't see you having an audience. Like, I just see you talking here on your profile. Like I've never heard of you. I haven't seen anything from you, etc. You just came out of the blue, and now you're offering me a course. You're offering me something here. And how can I trust you? You have no track record. You have, you've just kind of popped out of nowhere here, right? So I call that positioning, right? So your position just isn't ideal, let's put it like that, because you haven't been spending time on building up goodwill, right? You haven't been spending time on creating value for people, helping people, positioning yourself in their mind as someone that can solve their problem, someone that is passionate about solving their problem. The dynamic is just really weird when you come out of nowhere just offering something immediately, compared to the person that has been helping people, engaging with them, asking them what they want and what they need, all that stuff, and then coming back to them and saying, hey, I've been helping you so much, and you've been appreciating what I've been creating for you, and I figured it was time to create something better for you. So here it is. If you're, I've listened to what you've been struggling with, and now I've created it for you, right? And that's the third thing you'll find yourself missing with here, is that you've created the course out of your own head. So it's almost impossible to figure out exactly what your audience wants and needs, and in their own language as well. It's not just enough to know what someone wants and needs. You need to know how they express that, what kind of phrases they use, and how they are specifically asking for help. What is it that they're struggling with, and what is it that they need, etc. Right? So all these things are missing, and that's what we call the transformation. All these things are missing. You don't have the audience, you don't have the position, and you don't have the transformation in place, simply because you did things in the wrong order. So what is the right order? Well, the right order is to build your audience first, figure out what they want and need, help them, and position yourself correctly, so that you can then go ahead and create the perfect offer that matches your specific audience, and thereby make sales. So it all starts with building an audience that needs help with the problem you solve. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching this in the Facebook group, let me know if that approach makes sense, right? So when I made this mistake, the big mistake, I found myself in this position. I didn't have an audience, I didn't have position, and I didn't have clear transformation. My course was about something that no one had actually asked me for, right? It wasn't presented in the exact way that they had been asking me for, so therefore it didn't work. So what I did is I hired a coach, I got help, and I understood what needed to be done, and that's what I called the big solution, right? So the big solution is to build a mission-driven community, right? So because no one knows who you are when you get started, your position is at zero. What you need to do is you need to create a space for the specific people that need your help, even though they don't know that you can help them yet, to come and talk with each other, to connect, get support, and learn from each other on how to solve a specific problem that you're going to specialize in solving. So you need to create a mission about solving a specific problem, and then you need to gather people that are on this mission, that want to solve this problem, and there you help them, and you listen in on what they want and need, and you position yourself as the solution to their problem. That's the path to go, especially if you're just getting started. It's the simplest, fastest, easiest way to create these things that you need. You need to have a growing audience, you need to have a position in people's minds as the solution to their problem, and you need to have a clear transformation. You need to know exactly what it is that's stopping people from getting exactly what it is they want, right? You need to be perfectly clear about their biggest desire and their biggest obstacles. Does that make sense? Great. So the vehicle for doing this, the best way to build a mission-driven community by far, is to have a Facebook group. And there are many reasons for this. And we're gonna, this is gonna be a 3-part video series. And by the end of this, it's gonna be perfectly clear why a Facebook group is the perfect way to do this. It has to do with how we sell. But for now, what I can say is that Facebook is one of the most active social media platforms in terms of monthly users. It's also a place where you can go to everyone's profile, unlike YouTube, and just read what's going on. It's kind of like you have a store, and all your customers come in, and you pretty much know a lot about them. Not everything, of course, but you know a lot about them, and it's just very simple to connect with people in a conversational way, to start a conversation with someone through Facebook in a way that you can't do properly on other channels. So there are other channels that are, YouTube for instance, it's very, very active, but you can't have conversations with people in the same natural way, and people can use fake names, etc. They're not using their real profiles like they do on Facebook. Of course, there's a lot of fake profiles on Facebook as well, but I hope you get the point. Right. So Lorna is saying, I have 4 Facebook groups. Great. It's actually, I would recommend you to just focus on one first, make that super profitable. Maybe it is for you, Lorna, and then expand further. This is all about focus, right? Okay, so the big mistake is to create your course before you have your audience. And the big solution is to build your audience first. This is how I did this. This is how I started making sales. This is how everything just kind of fell into place, and how I then help my clients to do this as well. And I've helped many of my clients to build communities of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So this really works if you build it around a clear mission. So that's what we're going to talk about now. What is a clear mission? How do we construct that mission? Okay, so this is the first step, right? So a mission is basically the answer to the question, so what do you do? So when someone asks you, so what do you do? Or how do you help people? What is it that you're all about? Instead of you giving this long, vague, fluffy answer that changes from day to day, you have something that we call a mission statement. It gives you the clarity of who you help, what is the problem you solve, and what is the desire that you enable for people. It gives you that clarity. It gives your prospects and your clients that clarity, and it gives other people that you are potentially going to be working with that clarity as well. So you're specializing in something, so you can collaborate with other people in a more effective way. So let's do an exercise. If you're watching this on Facebook, in the Facebook group, go ahead and post your elevator speech. It goes by many names, right? So go ahead and post in the comments, what is your mission statement? And I'm going to give you my example, right? So I help instructors create and sell their online courses so they can thrive by helping others. Okay? So I primarily focus on instructors. It can be coaches, experts, consultants, etc., etc. But I package them under the name instructors, right? Create and sell their online courses. That's the main problem that I help people to achieve and to overcome. And then so they can thrive by helping others. So that's the value here. Like, that's why this is important for me. And these are the people that I want to work with, people that are passionate about making an impact in people's lives, and they want to help themselves, but they also want to help other people. So this is the ultimate desire, right? Someone being able to quit their 9-to-5, work when they want, where they want, how they want, on their own terms, be their own boss, knowing that they're making other people happy, solving their problems, and in so doing, creating personal freedom for themselves, their families, etc., right? So that's what we're all about. So let me know in the comments, what is your mission statement? And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and post it as well. And if you want, I can give you some feedback on it. If not, you can just practice delivering your mission statement. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. So I want to really emphasize this. One of a critical mistake that people make is that they try to help everyone with everything. But in this day and age, you need to be, it's more important than ever to be a specialist, right? You really want to think of this as, the general practitioner versus the brain surgeon. So the general practitioner works day in, day out, doesn't get a good salary. It's not, this is an analogy I got from Sam Ovens, one of my coaches. It's basically someone that is just working day in, day out, doesn't get much for it, right? A brain surgeon is someone that is highly specialized in one single problem that no one else can do, or at least few other people can do. So they have maybe 2-3 clients a month, and they get paid very, very well, and they get a lot of freedom, and they're highly respected, right? So Lorna is saying, I help dog owners on how to train their dogs by having fun by playing games. Great. So Lorna, if you want my feedback here, at the mission statement level, I would avoid having the how. So if you look at my mission statement, I help instructors create and sell their online courses so they can thrive by helping others. So when someone asks me, what do you do for a living? So I help instructors create and sell their online courses. Then the next natural question is, how do you do that? And then you can go deeper into your method. So your method is your different steps of how you help your clients to overcome this problem. You can tell them about your offer. So I help dog owners to do this through my method inside my program, right? So we usually want to leave that open there. And you can always say, and we emphasize on having a lot of fun and playing games, etc., right? But at the top level, when someone asks us what we do, if you want my feedback, Lorna, you can just stay at the, I help these people with this problem so that they can get this ultimate outcome, this ultimate desire, right? Okay, but it's not a black and white thing, and you can do it like that, and that works as well. It's just my recommendation there. Great, so this is all about specializing. This is all about being a specialist, positioning yourself as, when people think of you, they should think of you as the person that solves that specific issue. When they think of you, Lorna, they should be, the woman that helps dog owners, right? That if you want to train your dog, go to Lorna, right? This doesn't just help us, on a day-to-day basis, knowing what it is we're supposed to be doing, but it also helps the algorithms, right? It's from a technical point of view. It's psychological on our behalf, on our clients' behalf, our prospects. They know what we do, we know what we do. But it's also from a technological standpoint, because we're working on all these different platforms, and there's algorithms in there trying to figure out who they should put us in front of, right? So when someone is looking for help with your specific thing, or when they like content that is similar to yours, you are going to be shown to them. That's why it's so important that you stay on track of what it is you do and who you help and what it is you enable people to get. Okay? So this is the foundation for everything else. You cannot build an effective, profitable online course business, and you cannot grow an audience if you're not clear about, hey, are you this kind of person and you want to solve this problem because you want this outcome? Then come over here and we'll teach you how to do it. And then when they come in, we're going to start unveiling the how. How does this work, right? But we need to have this level of clarity at the top level, if that makes sense. Okay, great. So again, if you're watching this on Facebook, go ahead and share your mission statement. I would love to learn a bit more about what you do and who you help. Okay, so once you have your mission statement, we'll go down here. This is where we create your Facebook group. So here, the biggest mistake that people make is that they make the mistake entirely about themselves or their product or their method or something like that, right? Something that is very egocentric, if that makes sense. But really what we want to do here is we want to adapt to the medium we're in. And what we're doing here is we're creating a community, right? So how Facebook rewards us is if we involve people and if we create engagement amongst people, etc. And that also helps us, because when people are engaged, it means that they are there, they're coming back, they're having fun, they're learning, and they're being inspired, they're taking a part of your message, they're being exposed to what it is you have to share with them, right? So really the emphasis here should be on creating a space where you're focusing on your members and where you're offering members to members. That's the main value. When you're inviting someone to your community, especially in the beginning, that's when you want to say, well, we just started this new community, we got 100 foundational members, and we're in here, we're discussing, we're supporting each other, we're helping each other, we can ask each other for help, we can give each other tips and tricks and share our experiences. So it's a collective mind, if that makes sense. Now, as time moves on, you can move away a bit from that and focus more and more on yourself. But especially in the beginning, when no one knows who you are, etc., this is how you want to position your community. So Lorna is saying, would this be better? I help dog owners train their dogs with fun games. So Lorna, what I would say here is that you help, the way you want to think about the problem you solve is that it's a goal, right? So every problem in life can also be seen as a goal. So the way you want to think about this is, think of this in terms of the perfect testimonial, right? So basically you would be saying to your audience, hi everyone, I want to introduce you to Jane. When Jane came to me, she didn't know how to train her dogs. And now she knows how to train their dogs. So can you tell that that's a very small result? I suspect that you are doing something way more important and valuable that's not being conveyed there, right? So maybe it could be something like, I help dog owners train their dogs so that they can follow your commands and be around children or something like that. So this is not my world, as you can tell, right? I don't have pets, but basically people have some sort of problem why they want to train their dogs, right? And we want to find what is that problem that you solve. It's not just that it would be like me saying I help instructors with their online courses, rather than I help instructors create and sell their online courses, right? So when I go to my audience, I can say, well, here's Jane. When she came to me, she was struggling to create her course. She had been working on it for months and months and months, and she didn't know how to launch it, and she had created courses before, but she had never managed to make sales, right? So working together, using this method, working inside my program, she was able to launch her course in a matter of days, and she started making sales within 2 weeks, right? So it's highly connected to the problem I solve. Does that make sense? I hope it does, right? This is also why, the way you've written this, I have dog owners train their dogs with fun games, that would be more for a low ticket course, something that you can charge, $10, $50 for. But if you are solving a big painful problem, like I help dog owners train their uncontrollable dogs so that they don't have to, I don't know what that's called, when you have to give them away or something like that, right? Like that's a big painful problem that if you can help them with this, someone would be willing to pay you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for, right? If you're talking with the right person. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that big painful problem. Okay, let's continue here. So as you're creating your group here, what you want to do, especially if you're getting started, is you want to start. So the way we grow our group is we send out friend requests on Facebook. That's one of the reasons why we use Facebook. It's because we can optimize our Facebook profiles, use it as a landing page, and then start sending out friend requests. And then from there, it's very simple to invite people to your group using the group invite function. There's a way to invite your friends, and with your content on your profile. You can tell people about the things that are going on inside your group. And then when people join your group or apply to join your group, you can ask them 3 questions. And this is where you can ask them for their email. And about half of them will give it to you, right? So here are the 3 membership questions that I recommend you to ask. And you should be changing these up, but start with these. So remember, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to map out a transformation, right? Remember, we talked about that. And a transformation is really understanding where someone is, where they want to go, what's standing in their way, what are they currently doing that's not working for them, and what is it that what would be a better way for them to achieve what they want so they can get their desired outcome faster, better, safer, more fun, in all the different ways that solution is better than what they're currently doing, right? So we are doing the market research here right away. So we're starting by asking here, how would you complete this sentence? If I could just ... I would ... So people would then tell you something like, if I could just train my dog properly, I wouldn't have to give my dog away to the whatever that is called, right? I wouldn't have to put my dog down. Let's put it like that if it's really serious, right? Okay, so that's the first question. We want to figure out what someone is struggling with and what's the desired outcome. What is it that they actually want, right? And for the second question is we want to get a clear question from them. So this is where we would ask something like, what is your number one question right now, right? So when people do that, they might say, how do I stop my dog from barking at people ringing the doorbell, right? And that is so valuable. That gives you the perfect, material for you to create content, both at the free level inside your online course, if you're doing, some sort of a value post, if you're sharing a story of how you were struggling with your dog that was barking at strangers at the door, and then what you did, the 3 tips on how to solve that, etc., 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 right? So you really want to collect questions. That's the main idea here when it comes to market research. You want to go to, different platforms, Quora, you can go to different websites, etc., 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 and just look at what are people asking, because this is what's on people's minds, and this is what's pressing for them and what they need help with. But that's why we ask this here. And then for the third question, that's where we ask, what is your email? You'll get, and then a lead magnet, something for free that we have for them, plus a 30-minute call with me. So, and your name, to help you with what you've mentioned above, right? So this is where you want to start collecting emails, and you want to collect it from people that are open enough to get your help with this. That's how you really figure out, this is not about having the biggest email list. This is about having an email list of people that are committed and they're open to getting help. And this is how we start positioning you as an expert. And if you have your course or your program already, if that's the case, then what I suggest you do is you'll give people a free sample of your program. So you'll say, what is your email? You'll get a free sample of my program on how to XYZ, plus a 30-minute call with me to help you with what you mentioned above, right? So that's how I recommend you to start your questions. And then you can switch them out every 2 months, every 3 months to gather different types of information. So you could ask something like, on a scale from 1 to 10, how uncontrollable is your dog and what is your goal 3 months from now, for instance, right? So you get it on a scale, and you can, like, what have you tried in the past to train your dog, right? So you're mapping out, you're getting all this information on what is it that people need, what is it that they're doing incorrectly, why is it that they're struggling with this, right? So this is how you start mapping out what people want, what's standing in their way, their email, and you can start booking in calls which lead to sales. So we're going to talk about that more later on how to sell your course, but it's all about starting conversations either by talking with warm people that are entering your world or creating content that makes people want to initiate conversations with you. Okay, that's the whole, that's how we sell organically. Okay, great. So we've reached the third part of building your community of highly qualified leads. So I hope you see so far that we are really attracting people that have a specific problem. We're positioning ourselves correctly. We're figuring out what people want. We're starting to help people. We're covering all these things that would be missing if we committed the big mistake of creating the course first. Does that make sense? Please let me know if you have any questions, if something isn't clear for you, and also let me know what you think about the system, about the method. So we call this the step-by-step method. And again, if you are listening to the podcast or if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and join the Facebook group. We're actually almost at 10,000 people now, so we're trying to get to 10K. That would be cool. And that way you can interact live in the next episode. The next episode is going to be about how to create and launch your course, and how to do it in such a way where you can charge more, where you can charge $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for your course, even if you're a complete beginner. So you can look forward to that training video next week. Okay, so let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer. If not, we're just gonna continue here. So really what you want to focus on in the initial stages of launching your community is engagement. Engagement is pretty much anytime someone is liking one of your things, one of your pieces of content, or liking your comments, or interacting, or talking with you. Because what happens there is many things happen. So first of all, from that individual's point of view, when they engage with your content, your next pieces of content are going to be shown to them more frequently, right? Because Facebook is going to be like, oh, this person liked this content, let's show more of that, because their goal is to keep you staying on the platform, right? Is to keep your audience to staying on the platform. It's also going to show to more people, because Facebook is going to be, oh, people are enjoying this, let's show it to more people, right? So there's just a lot of stuff going on under the what's it called, the hood of the car here. But the way we want to think about this is that if people are engaging, we're interacting with them, they're having fun, they're being a part of the process, and they are not just being passive receivers, but they are a part of the community, and they can interact and they can have fun, right? So that's what makes people want to come back, when their opinion is heard, and when their experiences are valued, and when they can contribute and they can be a part of the bigger mission. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. Right, so a lot of people create Facebook groups and they start, complaining that no one is interacting, no one is listening, etc., etc., etc. So there are different strategies and ways to do this, and we're going to talk about a few of them, kind of like at a surface level here, because there's a lot of different strategies we can use. But the most important things, okay, before we go into that, I want to answer Lorna's question here. Can I ask a question like, I have these free course, who wants it in different groups, or is this only for my groups? Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why I wouldn't recommend that. So first of all, it's not very nice to the other group owner, right? So what you want to do is, you don't want to enter someone's space where people are respecting a person, and you starting to offer free stuff in their space, right? Because you're not being very respectful to that person. It's sort of like someone coming into your space and trying to sell something. And people that like that other person, they're not going to like you more. And you're basically operating outside your zone of genius. Your zone of influence, right? That's something that I got from another coach. So when you're operating outside your zone of influence, it's not, how do I put this? There's no one out there that wants an online course. There's no one out there that wants our products. That's not what people want. What people want is to have their problems solved, right? So when you are talking in someone else's Facebook group, you don't really have the authority, right? Because it's not your audience. So they're going to be like, well, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Like, so it's not very effective. It's if you were to do something, in someone else's group, I would contribute to that group by just answering people's questions in their comments and helping people out, etc., etc. Now, you can do borderline, promotions, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you were to do that, then it's basically sharing stories, sharing personal stories where people congratulate you and kind of encourage you and give you a like because you did something amazing, something that inspires them. But and it's kind of like a gray area there. But what I would recommend you to do is to first focus on your own group and make that work. And really, if you do things correctly, you shouldn't be promoting in any way in someone else's group. That's just my take on it. I know there's many different ways of doing this, but I never posted in someone else's group, and I turned out fine, to put it mildly. To put it like that. Okay. So engagement then. Let's go back to that. So the other thing that's really important with engagement is that when people are talking, that's when they're sharing what they're struggling with and what they want and what they value and what they've been trying, what's not working for them, etc., etc., etc. Like, you want people complaining, pretty much. You want people complaining about the issues that they have or asking questions, right? Because that's what helps you map out this transformation. And this is really where we start mapping it out, right? We really start to crystallize what is their unacceptable reality. Where are they right now that is not acceptable for them? What is their irresistible desire, something that is so important for them that they would do anything to get there if they just knew how? You want this big contrast between where someone is and where they want to go in order for you to have enough value, right? So there has to be a big problem standing in their way. And you'll see that they really want to solve this problem because they're doing something and they're banging their head against the wall, doing something incorrectly for months and months and months. And they're looking for a better way of doing things. And then what you want to do is you want to start mapping out what is the best method, what is the best way for them to solve this? How can you best guide them through this method? And how can you package all this in the form of a product? And that's going to be your online course, online program, right? That we're going to talk more about next week. But that's really what happens there, is that your audience is met with a choice. They're met with a choice of continue doing what's not working for them, that's keeping them stuck, that's not getting them the results, that just banging their head against the wall. A lot of pain, a lot of frustration, a lot of stress, fear, anxiety, etc., 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 because they're in an unacceptable reality and they have to get out of it, but they don't know how. And as hard as they try to do it on their own, they just can't make it work. So that's what they can do on one hand. On the other hand, they could just get your help to implement your method, and you've been sharing with them how it works, how you made it work, how you're helping your clients make it work, and working with you directly. So that's something we're going to be talking about in the next video next week, that you should have an interactive component where people are working with you directly. That's what allows people to get better results and solve bigger problems, and that's what allows you to deliver more value, which in turn allows you to charge more, get paid more, help more people. That's what it's all about, right? So we're going to talk more about that next week. And then you want to position your offer, right? Your program or your course as the place where they get your help to implement your method. So that's their choice. Continue struggling on their own, or get your help with your method in your product, in your offer, and start getting the same kind of results that you're delivering for your clients and that you have done for yourself, and that you can deliver for them, right? So this is really the foundation, and this is why a course sells, because you have figured this out by talking with people, by listening in, and really understood what it is they want and need, what's standing in their way, etc. So you got the foundation in order. And now when you go and create your course specifically about this, how to stop doing the wrong things, how to do it instead, how to get from point A to get to point B, etc., etc. Now it's in sync with your audience, and people are going to be interested. And you're going to have the position because you've been helping them, and you're going to have the growing audience, a lot of people that you can talk with, both on your email list, in your Facebook group, on your friends list on Facebook. Okay? So Lorna is asking, if the group inspires this, would this be all right? I'm not sure I understand that question. If the group allows it, I assume you're asking. Yeah, sure, go ahead. It's just not the part of the 80-20, because that time that you're spending outside of your zone of influence, you could be spending inside your zone of influence. There's just plenty of people that you could have conversations with, you could be creating content, you can helping your clients, etc. Lots of things that are more important within your zone of influence. So start there, make it work. And then if you have time over and you think it's fun, then you can go and do it outside. But it's not what you should be focusing on from my point of view. Okay, so how do you then create this sort of engagement? How do you start these conversations? Because that's what this is all about. So you have public conversations and you have private conversations. So for the public conversations, what you want to do in your community is ask your audience for their opinions, right? You want to ask them for their advice, for their tips and tricks, for their take on it. So for instance, if someone joined your group and asked, how do you get your dog to stop barking when a stranger rings the doorbell? What you do is you start a question in your community. What are your 3 tips? Or what is your advice for someone struggling with a dog barking at strangers at the door, right? So now it's not just you telling people how it is, but you're actively showing interest in people's opinions and experiences and what they've gone through, and if they have any tips and tricks. And this is how you can create a lot of value. And frankly speaking, you can learn a lot from this, which makes you, grow as well and offer a better product and service, because you're learning from other people, right? Okay, so those are public conversations, and when you create your content, encourage people to interact with you. Does that make sense, right? Like that's exactly what I'm doing, right? I'm just asking you, does this make sense? What do you think about this, right? Let me know in the comments. And again, if you're watching this in the Facebook group, if you want this guide that I'm showing you here, comment guide below and I'll get it to you. And if you're outside of the Facebook group, go ahead and join it. And that way you can interact live and you can get the guide as well if you go to this replay. Okay, perfect. Lorna saying, makes sense. Great. The other way to start conversations is to do it in private, right? So remember, we started asking people when they joined the group about their number 1 question and what it is they want and what's standing in their way, etc. Now you can go ahead and you can start welcoming all your members. Hi and welcome to the blah 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 group. Saw you're struggling with this. If you're open to it, I'd be happy to give you some advice and help with this. Or if they said they want a free call with you, you just go ahead, say hi and welcome to the group. What do you say we set up that call sometime later this week? Or if they give you a number 1 question, hey, I saw you join this group, saw you were wondering about this. I'd be happy to give you my take on it if you're open to it. And just anything to start the conversation, right? Because that's another thing. When people are having messenger conversations with you, they see more of your content. And least of all, having conversations with people is what leads to the situation where you can invite them to get on a call with you to get more help. And when you have calls with people, you can invite them to join your program or your course. So that's how this works. We are building your positioning with your community. Someone enters your world, sees that you have an audience, sees that you're helping people with this problem. They start seeing you as an authority, and you are interacting with them, offering them help, talking with them on Messenger, figuring out where they are, where they want to go, what's standing in their way, what's not working for them, and then suggesting like, hey, I think there's a better way of doing this. I'm pretty sure I can help you with this. What do you say we get on a call and we can take a look at it together, right? So that's how this whole organic game works, right? So this concludes the first part of this 3-part training, right? On how to build a community of highly qualified prospects, right? So there's a lot of details with this, of course. How do you create all this content? How do you implement all this? How do you connect your Facebook group when people give you their email to your auto mail responder? All that kind of stuff that's more of the how-to. So it's not something we're gonna cover here, but there are ways to do all this, and I'd be happy to talk more about that if you'd like to book in a call with me, for instance. But for now, let's just focus on the next training. And the next training is going to be on how to create and launch your high-ticket course. Again, if you want the guide, if you're watching this live, go ahead and comment guide, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you're outside of the group, if you haven't joined the Online Course Secrets community yet, what are you doing? Come on, join the party. And you can just go to Facebook and search for Online Course Secrets. Go to Facebook groups, you'll find it. It's at the top. And I'll try to add a link if it's possible to the different podcasts, and hopefully you'll find a link where you can join as well. Lorna is saying thanks, this was great, David. Thanks, Lorna, thanks for joining. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to get back to you and help you out. So thank you for joining this week. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.